And welcome to Inside Albania with me, Alice Taylor. This week, we are covering three exciting topics for you. First of all, Albania's emergence as a leading tourism destination, not just in Europe, but in the world. Number two, we're going to be discussing autism and the challenges of other learning disorders for children and adults in Albania. We're also going to be talking to a Palestinian man who's currently stuck in Gaza, but the catch is he's a permanent resident of Albania. 2023 was a bumper year for tourism in Albania, and this year is set to be even bigger. But in 2023, between January and December, Albania was ranked #1 in the UN Tourism Barometer. But what does that mean? I'm joined online today in an exclusive interview with the Executive Director of United Nations Tourism, Natalia Bayona. Good afternoon, Natalia. Welcome to Inside Albania.
Hi, it's my pleasure to be with you. And of course, we are so happy to see that Albania is leading the way in terms of tourism performance in one of the best years of recovery for tourism.
And this is amazing. Albania is a small country. I moved here 7 years ago. And when I first moved here and I said to people, I'm moving to Albania, and they were like, where? So for it to go in a few years and with a pandemic in the middle of that to #1, this is incredible. But can you explain a bit about the data behind this, how Albania got this ranking, what it means?
Of course, Albania is the best performer in Europe in 2023, increasing international arrivals. And it's Albania's 4th position worldwide for the highest percentage change in international tourism arrivals compared to 2019. And once again, Albania is leading the way because Albania saw 49% more arrivals in January-November 2023 than in the same month during the pandemic. So at the end of the day, Europe reached 94% of pre-pandemic levels. And when we see what is making Albania so popular, I have to say that first of all, of course, Albania's captivating landscapes of the Northern Alps to pristine beaches in the south. Second of all, that is very important when it comes to tourism. Albania guarantees economic stability. That's why we are working so hard with the Ministry of Tourism to launch officially next week during the Regional Commission for Europe, the first tourism investment guideline to promote all the key data that assure that Albania is a good place to invest. And of course, Albania celebrated for its liberal and reformist investment climate and optimal geographic location. So today, I'm very happy to say that more than 10 million visitors have been experiencing Albania, and we are here to support Albania through the leadership that we have in the UN system, and of course, to help the ministry to promote more investments, more education, more innovation that at the end of the day can help the country to maintain the data.
Can I ask as well, I hope you have the data there, but you said it's 1 in Europe and 4th worldwide. In the worldwide rankings, who are we competing with? Who beat us last year? I want to know.
Yes, of course. That's a very good question. I have to say that first in the world were Qatar with 90%, and this is incredible because this is part of the magic when you are creating a mega event and how these empowers tourism, investments, and of course, promotion at the end of the day of the destinations. Saudi Arabia, 56%. When it comes to Americas, we see El Salvador. We see Colombia with 25%. So at the end of the day, this is very important because emerging markets are the ones that are leading this way, and it's incredible. So there is always place for everybody when it comes to tourism.
And can I ask, in Europe as well, who is snapping at our heels in the European rankings?
So in the European rankings, very nice to know, Andorra is the second one there. And of course, when it comes to the mature countries, we have a very strong recovery in Spain, led by investments as well. Spain is a strong investor when it comes to the public-private partnerships all around the world, but that has been booming today. Cities like Madrid or like Barcelona or like the Basque or the regions like the Basque Country or Baleares, they are of course full of tourism and they are doing a strong record. France as well is reviving and it's showing a stability. So at the end of the day, very good performance and a very mixed performance between emerging and mature destinations.
That's really interesting to know, and that we're performing better than some of the most famous tourist destinations in the world. Now, on April the 8th, Tirana will host European tourism ministers, as well as a conference on tourism investments and economic development in Europe. Can you explain a bit for our viewers what's on the agenda for these events coming up?
So this is incredible to understand because the first day of our regional commission will be focused, of course, on the internal discussions that we will have with ministers and high-level delegates in order to promote the agenda for Europe. No, so at the end of the day is to see what we can do more in order to position and to reassure the leadership of Europe all around the world. The second day is really exciting. I love it the most because it's about investments, it's about economy, it's about working with the private sector in order to reassure the commitment that in this case Albania has to promote private investments that are coming, of course, in terms of infrastructure, hotel development, but of course to showcase different cases as well from different parts of Europe so that we can exchange different methodologies and successful cases for the growth of the most important and the most human economic sector that is tourism.
And I wanted to ask, during the event, I read that there will be a report published, Tourism Doing Business, Investing in Albania. What is this exactly? And I know it hasn't been published yet, from what I understand, but can you give us any sort of sneak peeks about what we might find in it?
Of course. I mentioned that I love investments because, of course, when you talk about investments, confidence, trust, and stability are key pillars. And in that sense, thanks to private investment, we can talk about tourism. So I can say that tourism, what we have been doing is working with the Ministry of Tourism of Albania to create a methodology on why it's important to invest in the country, what is the added proposition of why today is proper to invest in the country, what is the macroeconomics of the country, and of course, what is the projects that's the most important that Albania is promoting. It could be public, it could be private or public-private, where we are welcoming private equity funds, family offices, infrastructure funds, hotel infrastructure chains, in order to come and to develop and to help this booming to maintain the country when it comes to the sector.
Now, I have to ask you, there is debate, and I know a lot of the people that come to Albania want to come here because it's a bit unknown, it's a bit wild, it's a bit rough around the edges. It has, it was closed off for so many years. It's opened up. People are curious. People haven't known much about it. And it's very popular for its rugged mountains, for hiking, for undiscovered parts of the country, these authentic sort of experiences. But then on the other hand, we talk about hotels, resorts, big names, big international names, etc. And there is debate at the moment. I've discussed it with guests previously on the show about this sort of crossroads that Albania's at. Does it follow this route of let's go for package holidays, luxury resorts, let's get people in for a week and then they go again? Or do we focus on things like agritourism, outdoor activities, sustainable tourism, slow tourism? Is there a choice there? Can there be both? Can you still keep this wild, untamed Albania that people love the idea of while bringing in big name brands?
So I feel that both things are possible. And of course, part of what we see in Eurotourism is that Albania is keen to support the values of tourism, community-involved tourism, tourism for good in terms of technology, startups, innovation, youth empowerment, big brands, but of course that are committed with the environment, that are committed with social impact innovation. So at the end of the day, if we bring big chains, big touristic chains, but that are connected with the values of the society, of sustainability, of inclusion, of innovation, of youth, of course, we are talking about a strong agenda that can help either creating conservation, responsibility, and education on tourism, but also, of course, having huge investments that can support the economic growth of the country.
Mm-hmm. So, in other words, the two can coexist, but there are certain pillars and methodologies that should be followed to ensure that it benefits everybody.
Of course, regulation is very important. So when you have all the rules, so for example, if you are doing social innovation or sustainability-driven or renewable energies-driven hotel, just to give you examples, you have extra benefits, or you are part of these investment scheme incentives that are here to help these responsible brands to go there. If you don't commit with the minimum viable values of tourism, it will be very difficult, because it's not about Albania. At the end of the day, today, more than ever, all the countries are more conscious, and all the countries understand the power of investment, but with responsibility and with empowerment of education, in order to have tourism, private sector, and public sector aligned.
And my last question, have you been to Albania? Are you coming for the conference?
That's the best question. I haven't been to Albania before. I'm very excited to be there with our Secretary General, Polo Likashvili. And of course, we are super happy to see for first day the amazing things that Tirana has to offer. And the second day, as I already mentioned, to support investments, to help the country. And of course, to get amazed about a country which campaign says all senses. And I'm totally committed, and I totally know that these all senses will be more than amazed to see with my eyes this amazing country. So I will see you soon, and I'm really excited to jump into this new adventure.
I hope you enjoy it, and make sure you get an opportunity to try some local food as well, and coffee and rakia as well, but after the work's finished.
Count on me. That's part of tourism, and I know that I'll be an ambassador of Albania once I come back.
Thank you so much, and enjoy your stay. I'm joined today in the studio by Fioralba Duma from Down Syndrome Albania. Now, you are a psychology graduate, a communications expert, and most importantly, and probably the biggest job of all, a mother of twins. When I saw you outside, I noticed something. You're wearing some quite interesting socks. Can we see them? I don't know if we can show the camera, if you can get your legs sort of up here.
Like this.
You have some very colourful socks on.
Yeah.
What's this about?
These are the famous mismatch socks, also called lots of socks or rock your socks. There are a lot of campaigns regarding the multicolored socks of the 21st March of March. That is the World Down Syndrome Day. It's like this from many years, since 2012 in Albania.
Now, your centre, Down Syndrome Albania, you don't just help children with Down syndrome, do you? You help children, young adults, and people who need it, who are not getting the services elsewhere, who have other learning challenges, conditions, disabilities, such as autism, ADHD. I believe you were doing testing for this as well. It's World Autism Day soon. Is that correct? That's coming up. Yeah.
2nd day of April. It's the International Day of Autism, if I'm not wrong. International word. But we are a foundation born to raise awareness about Down syndrome in Albania, because there was some stigma years before. Still is, but things are changing, and we see that things are, more, there is more acceptance, more, people are more ready and informed. And I think maybe it can be a job of Down syndrome in 10 years of work. So of course, we have this name, but maybe half of our children have autism or other learning challenges.
Now, autism, I think, is one where there is still a huge amount of stigma, but also a lack of understanding. People don't really understand they think of autism and they maybe think of somebody who can't speak, who can't, interact in any way. They don't understand that autism is on a scale. There are celebrities with autism, with ADHD, who lead regular lives, who do their job, who have families, relationships, It's not something which means you can never do anything normal in your life. What is the situation with the stigma, like in schools, for example, in Albania? What challenges are children facing?
Many years before, the problem in Albania was the inclusivity in the schools missing, totally missing, because people that were visibly disabled or with disabilities, they were put in special schools. So the situation, it is changing. It's changed, actually. And there is more, there are something changing, especially, for example, autism. Autism, it's, you said it too, so it's a spectrum.
Yes.
And it can touch and have some parameters in social skills or intellectual or expression.
Do children in schools here, if they attend a state school, so a public school, can they, if they have autism, ADHD, other learning challenges, can they have assistance from specialists in the school, or is this?
Yeah. And the numbers of the percentage of how many school teacher assistant are supportive teachers are in schools, by class, it's growing up. But we still, as Down syndrome Albanians, say that this number can improve and can be better, because actually we don't see the role of the teacher, of the supportive teacher, as a supportive teacher for the children with disabilities. But we see the role of the teacher as the teacher of all the class.
Yes.
Because if you have to, like, the teacher in an inclusivity of the class can use some techniques, some strategies to make all the people, all the pupils learn better. And this is not about disability or syndromes. It's something that all the pupils deserve.
Yes, it benefits everybody.
Yeah.
Talk about ADHD as well. I have ADHD and I'm not shy about saying it, but this is something which I found is really not understood in Albania, like at all. I find a lot of creative people I know have ADHD because we're full of ideas and we want to do everything and a new idea and I'm going to do this and blah, blah, blah. And it can be a very positive thing in many ways. But unfortunately, this doctor I saw said, no, adults can't have it. You just want to get your hand on drugs. I was like, if I just wanted drugs, I can go and get them. I don't want them. Anyway, this kind of stigma is what I'm talking about. You know, when people go to a medical professional and they're looking for help, I mean, I was thinking if this was a woman who was suicidal, suffering from postnatal depression, or someone who was struggling with a substance addiction or something, and they went and asked for help and were told, oh, you're making it up, you're lying. You know, this has a really big impact on people. What sort of services can Down Syndrome Albania provide?
A service we do, it's also the valuation, the early intervention. It's also one of our, we stress a lot about early intervention.
It's really important.
Because in Albania it's not improving as it should be, and it's slowly improving, and there are not many services toward the early intervention, and we try to put this in the priority agenda, and doing the evaluations of children that the family think that maybe they have a disability, something that it's not going regular. So we try to do a lot of evaluations. I don't remember the number, but maybe more than 100 of children this year, and we are at March. This is one of the main services we have. When a child do the evaluation, it's not alone. It has the whole family, if possible, present. So we have to understand also the familiar dynamics inside of the house. And we are a team of multi-approach, of different professionals. So we try to...
But I think sometimes parents here they don't want to confront the fact that maybe their child needs some help or needs a bit of additional assistance. They don't want to get a diagnosis. Everything's fine, you know. I think there's a stigma with that as well. Parents are they're scared. They don't have information. They think, if my kid is autistic, the neighbors are going to gossip about me, or people will be ashamed. I will have to hide my face from my family. I think there is an element of this as well. And I don't think people realize that these issues, yes, there are challenges for these kids, but if the younger you identify them and the help that you provide, they can live a normal life in many ways.
Yeah, actually, if you think that now the situation is bad, you should
how it was.
See how it was.
Yes.
Actually, we see that a lot of service centers about speech therapy, ABA therapy, or physio, everything. It's pretty, trendy right now, especially in Tirana. And if you go and you are in the echo chambers of this matter in online medias, you see that there is a lot of parents asking themselves and making questions. This is a good change. And actually, I would say that knowing knowing yourself, knowing your child as a mom, but also as professional, it's something that relieves you, because you can put some reason to what's happening in your life, in your everyday. So
it makes it easier. In a way, at least you know how to handle it, how to approach it. That the kid's not just being naughty for the sake of it. You know how to better.
You can ask specific help, not just help randomly and without a focus.
Good luck with all of your endeavours and fundraising, and I want some of these socks before they sell out. Thank you.
Thanks, you too.
My next guest is joining us on what I think is going to be a very tenuous link from Gaza. Nader Abdelwahed immigrated to Albania in 2016. He went back to Gaza and he has found himself trapped in the country following the outbreak of war there. He has not been repatriated, although he says some other Palestinians who also have Albanian residents have been brought back to the country. He's facing a lot of issues there at the moment, but I also wanted to find out what the situation is like on the ground for him there. I hope we can connect. Good afternoon, Nahed.
Highness.
Now, from what I understand, you are a permanent resident in Albania, but you're currently in Gaza. Now, how did you arrive in Albania and then go back to Gaza? Can you explain the situation a bit for me?
Yes, you are right. This is true that I hold the Albanian permanent residence permit, and I got it last year in July 2023, and I first came to Albania in 2016. It was a short visit coming from Slovenia, where I was studying my master's degree in intercultural business communication. During this visit, I decided to leave Slovenia and to stay in Albania permanently because I love the country, the people, and the culture of Albania. I used to visit my family during these years from time to time. And unfortunately, the war has started shortly after I arrived Gaza to see my family.
In this context, what has your communication with the Albanian authorities been? I mean, do they intend to get you out? Have they replied? What is going to be your next step?
I have, at the first time, I have contacted the Albanian embassy in Cairo, asking them to protect me and my family by evacuating me from Gaza to Egypt. This is happening through a special request to the Egyptian government through the Albanian embassy in Cairo. They promised me, and especially that I have explained to them that I have the right to be protected according to the Albanian law of foreigners and the international human law. After 3 months of waiting, unfortunately, Albanian's government have rejected my application to be evacuated with my family, and they told me that this is because of the Israeli security concerns. And it was a shocking answer from the Albanian government, especially that I have no problem with the Israeli government, neither with any other government in the world. Still, I don't know, or I don't understand how me and my family, my kids, my mother, she's 83 years old, and I have a small kid. She's 3 years old, and my son, he's 15 years old. My daughter is 17 years, and other sons is 19 years, and my wife. How can we treat Israel or Albania? I don't understand this. We are simple civilians and very neutral family. And if Albanian government intended not to help me in this case, I believe that I have to take the next step and the next actions, which is going to the United Nations special procedures with a complaint against the Albanian government.
Are you aware of anyone else that's in a similar situation from Albania? I mentioned in the intro that perhaps there were some other cases. Is there anyone there with you now who's experiencing this problem?
And the Albanian embassy in Cairo have evacuated a number of Palestinians 1 month after the war, and they haven't, or they don't hold the Albanian residence permit. They just evacuated them because they have relatives in Albania. Unfortunately, Albanian government has broke the Albanian law and the international law in my case, and I don't know why. And their response, as I told you, was shocking for me. So once again, I'm asking the Albanian government to evacuate me with my family according to the law, and to protect me through this action.
Now, I have to ask, where exactly are you now, and what is the day-to-day situation there? I mean, what does a typical day look like for you?
Now we are in Rafah city at the south of Gaza Strip. Originally, I'm from Gaza city at the middle of Gaza Strip, and at the start of the war, the Israeli occupation forces forced us to leave Gaza under the strikes of the weapons to Khan Yunis city. And then they have forced us to leave Khan Yunis and to go to Rafah on the borders with Egypt. And we have nothing to do in this because we all the time under the strikes of the Israeli tanks and airplanes and bombarding. Here in Rafah, there is no medicine. It's very hard to reach good food, very hard to reach water. And it's really a very, very miserable and a very catastrophe for the whole Palestinian people from Gaza who are living in Rafah. So once again, I'm appealing Albanian government to protect us from these conditions, especially that we, the civilian people who are under the threats of the war here.
I mean, what are your fears for the future? I mean, do you have any indication of what's going to happen on the ground there? What are people saying? What are you expecting?
People now are speechless. They can't say anything. They are disappointed. They are frustrated, exhausted, and they completely tired and exhausted. And there is no hope at all. And the people who are of Palestine here in Gaza and in Rafah mainly, and in general in Gaza, they are saying why we are the world deal with us in this way. If this is kind of revenge from innocent people and from civilian people, the Israeli government and Israeli occupation forces has destroyed everything here in Gaza Strip. We have no past, we have no future, we have no recent. We just facing the death from these weapons, and we still don't understand why they are doing that with us. So if you are asking me about the futures, we have no futures future at all. If they allow us to come back to Gaza, there is no infrastructure. There is no water at all. There is no schools. There is no universities. There is no mosque or churches. And it seems that they will not allow us to come back. And it's impossible to stay in Rafah forever. Imagine that more than 1 million Palestinians, 1,300,000 Palestinians, they are living in a very small area. And most of them in the camps, in small tents. Regarding your question about the indications, what will happen in the ground? All the time, the Israeli security and the Israeli army and the Israeli government is threatening us that we will come to Rafah. And the whole war warning from this because it will be a huge massacre. Now they have killed more than 30,000 people in Gaza. What does this mean? They want to kill another 30,000 people in Rafah, for example? And for which reason? All of this. Because they want to fight Hamas. We are civilian. We are not Hamas.
Now, I was reading a report yesterday. Israel says there is no way to eliminate Hamas without destroying Rafah. Now, is this the reality? I mean, there is a huge debate at the moment. It's been going on since October last year. Israel saying, our only chance to destroy Hamas is by sort of bombing everything possible because they're so ingrained in every part of Palestine. Is this true? Are Hamas among you? Are they as entrenched as Israel says? What is the reality in your view?
Look, Alice, it's complicated here. We are, as I told you, we are simple civilian people. We can't be an observer of the military actions by Israelis, and because simply they can kill anyone and they can say that we killed him because he's Hamas. And unfortunately, when they want to kill someone, they kill him with his family, with his kids, with his mom, with his brothers. They kill the whole families for unknown reasons. So it's complicated here. And we don't know what is the reality, honestly, because we are in very unfocused situation, and we don't know what exactly is happening. And I don't want to talk about politics or military actions here, but I want to confirm only one thing, that the Palestinian peoples here in Rafah and in Gaza Strips, they are under continuous attacks by Israel's military forces, and we are very simple civilian people. That's it.
Thank you very much. Nahed, I wish you luck and stay safe. That's all for this week. As with previous weeks with Formula One going on, our time slot could change a little bit, so you can follow me on social media, Twitter and Instagram, Alice in Albania, to find out exactly when we'll be on TV. Otherwise, you can watch us at 5 o'clock on our YouTube channel, that's Euronews Albania, or across all major podcasting platforms. Until next week, Miro Pafshin.